Oh gosh, what a heavy question today. How am I? I'm really sad, Drew. I'm sad is the overwhelming emotion that I feel. I am just so achingly sad that we had insurrectionists storm our capital. It hadn't happened since 1814, since the War of 1812, when kind of the British invaded our country, and that we had white nationalist terrorists effectively overwhelm our capital, terrorize our elected men and women of Congress, our Capitol Police, defame and deface the Capitol building, loot the Capitol building, in wearing Camp Auschwitz sweatshirts and waving Confederate flags is just horrifying to me. And then trying to explain what was happening to our children. I'm very sad. I'm very sad today. I mean, I am incredibly grateful and proud that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will indeed be our next president and vice president of the United States. And I am holding that pride kind of deep in my heart and my soul. And yet I'm also still really sad today.
I was listening to Van Jones, who said something that I've been holding on to, where he said, is this the end of something or the beginning of something? And we make that choice right now. And because I am such an optimist, but a realist, I don't think in this time anymore we can have optimism that's just blind and giddy. We have to have optimism that's rooted in grounded reality and civic awareness. Do you think that this can be a turning point and the beginning of, I certainly watched all the senators last night speak on both sides, and I want to be always inclusive to both sides. I'm not a party person, I'm a humanist. And to see temperatures calmed as so many people have hoped for, do you think that's possible now in the wake of this?
I think, Drew, the answer to your question is at the beginning of the question, right? It's possible if we make it possible. And certainly, I was up really late last night too, watching all of the proceedings on the Senate and the House floor, and was similarly really reassured to see, Mitt Romney and kind of the Republicans who really were putting, country over party, and kind of being patriotic after a day of kind of very much the opposite on display in the hallowed halls of our Capitol. And I do think, we have to ensure that this is the end of something, and it's the end of not only, a handful of years in which hate was kind of mainlined into our kind of national conversation and somehow allowed to become acceptable, in which we have seen, huge rises in hate crimes against Black Americans, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, women, often aided, abetted, egged on by our president. And so I do think, we have to ensure that this is the end of something. But it's also has to be the end of, 400 years of white supremacy in our country. And the fact that we saw Confederate flags in the Capitol yesterday is hopefully just such a call that we have to ensure that we are moving forward, and that we're moving forward honestly. And I think what you said was so beautiful, Drew, that you're an optimist, but you're also a realist. I'm just thinking so much today about how we teach history, how we teach civics in our country. And I think we have to do a much better and more honest job. I think so much about Coretta Scott King is one of the original inspirations for me kind of writing the She Persisted series. And she spoke so frequently and emphatically, urgently about how progress has to be protected and defended in each generation. And I think we're really living in a moment where we have to protect the progress that we've made, and we have to keep pushing forward. in our country, because we clearly have a tremendous amount of work to do, both to remedy injustice and also to ensure that hate doesn't have a home here and doesn't have a platform here.
Reading this book while simultaneously watching what was happening last night, and we'll spend our second segment focused on this extraordinary book, was such an incredible juxtaposition to what was happening in our current time. And I am in holding on to the faith that 2020 has been the volleyball that has been set up, and we will spike in some extraordinary continued change in our country, the way we treat people, to demonstrate around the world the humanity that we have and want to share with each other and hold as the standard.